Thanks for tuning in again, everybody. We're back with your favorite podcast, Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my.
All right, Luca Nation. I know Cage is going to bring the heat for you guys today. I know I have a really, really amazing play I'm excited for you guys to hear about. My play is a mix of art and a moneymaker, so I think everyone could like that and respect that. But what do you want to talk about? I saw a cool post today about my favorite Tyler Hero, and the question was, is going into his second year, after seeing his production in the bubble, is Tyler Hero a buy, sell, or hold right now? I think that's a worthwhile conversation to have, not just about Tyler Hero, but there's probably 10, 15 players that could fall into the same bucket as him.
Listen, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that? But before we do, let me throw this one out there for our listeners. So we had a post late last night. I think we put it up about being thankful. This is Thanksgiving week. It's going to be a different week for us. You know, people take some time off, get some time with your family, although in 2020, it's a weird world and people might even be trying to keep you from your family. You know, I do want to take some time this week to, you know, let you guys know what I'm thankful for. And, you know, right off the bat, right off the top, that's definitely going to be you guys, the listeners, because you know, some of the comments that you guys throw out there, it really is an amazing thing. You know, we come out here every day. We at least try to come out here every day and, you know, put some content in there for you. And some of the stuff we get, you know, about how, you know, people who are making money, people who are, you know, listen to this with their family, people who are, you know, just getting back into the hobby, people who are doing this with their son, with their daughter. You know, we really love hearing that stuff. And, you know, I do want to say that, you know, 2020, with it being as crazy a year as it is, this podcast, I'm very thankful for. Thankful for you guys, the audience. And I got to throw a little fun one out there. Really thankful for my co-host here. Really thankful for Andrew for a bunch of reasons. But number one, it's funny. I guess there are people that come along, you know, every once in a while who open your eyes to the, you know, the parts of you that are missing. And let me tell you, this guy, I could not have found a more opposite person than me. And I would not be doing this, you know, this thing the way that I'm doing it. I would have probably run this podcast into the ground. I wish you could see him, guys. He's laughing his ass off at me, and he should be. But
we've been doing this for 4 months. When you said the first line, I knew where you were going with it. I think that's our cadence at this point. It's nice.
You knew.
I appreciate the kind words.
Thankful for this guy. So, you know, there are things that I don't know how to do. A lot of them. I can't spell the word system or process or, you know, behind the scenes. I can't make a video to save my life. I can barely type some of the stuff that I post. So, you know, if you guys notice you know, an improved content, you know, improved videos. Thank you, Jordan, who's working on the videos, you know, with us. It's all this dude here. You know, I don't think we have the most professional thing in the world, and he fights me all the time about it. But you know, I want to make it even look less professional. So forget about it. It would be a joke if it wasn't for this guy. So in all honesty, there's my mushiness, you know, for Thanksgiving week. We're supposed to, you know, tell you things to thankful for. Everybody can cop out and say how thankful they are for their family. And, you know, my kids, they're all great. We love them. You guys know them. I'm thankful for the ability to, you know, have the audience we have and talk to you guys and share my collecting journey with you guys. But, you know, the reason why I show up every day is this handsome gentleman here. So ladies, anybody got a lady for this guy? Anybody got a lady for this guy? So this is a dream.
We get to talk about Tyler Hero today, and I get
you did say, to be fair, you did say Tyler Hero, and we could talk about other guys like him. You did say there are 10 or 12 guys who fit in the same category. We could talk about Tyler Hero if you like, but no bullshit, man. Listen, I do appreciate all of the direction, because if it wasn't for you, I'd be off in a million tangents. So appreciate it.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I'll just say thank you and leave it at that, because I'm very well. Something, you know, I talked to my grandpa today.
Oh, nice. So I go on a little diatribe, and all of a sudden Andrew starts thinking of his grandpa.
Well, I think about my grandpa and my dad a lot, because, you know, they come from a different generation, whether we like it or not. And I talk to them about the same things I talk to you guys about, because my grandpa was born in Ukraine. My dad was born in Ukraine. I was born in Ukraine, but they brought me here when I was very young. I was 2. And I always ask them, you know, like, how come a lot of people from that country or that age are negative, or they see the world cynically. Like
me.
Why don't they see opportunity? Why do people give up on life at 30 or 40 or 50 and stop wanting to live their dreams? And oftentimes they say, Andrew, we don't think like that. We just wanted to survive and put enough food on the table for our family to survive. And I get it. And I definitely get it. But I do think it's worthwhile to consider giving thanks and gratitude. I don't think it takes away any energy from I don't think it takes away your manlyhood. I think that's what it came down to. Sometimes they think that showing gratitude or thanks or having perspective will make them a little bit less weak or a little more weak or it'll take away their edge. I think it gives you more of an edge, Cage.
Well, that was my post last night, and no one believes it. About being thankful. It's like, oh, Andrew had a nice post. I'm like, no, that was actually me. People are like, no, that wasn't you. But yeah, no, I mean, listen, a lot of people have put some hard work into this, and that includes our audience members, and I couldn't be more thankful for the community that we built here, and I can't wait to continue to grow it. And it's a big thank you to each and every one of the thousands who are listening to this. So thank you.
It's fair to say though, Cage, a lot of the things we talk about on the podcast, we try to live. Like I try to live these things myself. I try to actually apply them and see, does it work or does it not? So I'm going through all of the things we talk about with you guys. I never want to be called a hypocrite. I don't want to be called a hypocrite. That's probably I don't like that. So the things I post and speak about, I do try to live those through example.
So for the audience, that's all you're getting. He's getting thank you once. That's it for the year. And the hell with the rest of you guys. You got Thanksgiving week to get it. For the rest of the time, you're getting cynical, mean old Cage. That's it. No more posts like that. If you want kombucha and avocado toast, you're going to have to get it from Andrew because I ain't doing that stuff. So let's get into Tyler Hero.
Well, it's kind of through the stage that we're going through, right? Like we're rookies in this podcast game. And when you come in as a rookie, no one's taking notice. You get to do your thing. When you evolve, things change. So I think going into year 2 for a lot of players, it's an evolution. And we think with more minutes, with more minutes being entered into the starting lineup, you would think that production or performance would go up. I found it's not always the case. And I think Tyler Hero and guys like him might actually be a buy later on in the season. What happens when you get entered into the starting lineup? Think about coming off the bench. Who are you going against? You're going against the other team's second unit. More than likely, it's not a lockdown defender. It's bench minutes and a different system. It's not the starters who have their defense locked in. Usually, not always. You get put into the starting lineup. Now, the other team game plans for you. More than likely, seeing that offense on the Heat, more than likely the other team's best defender is going to match up on Tyler Hero. They're going to know his weaknesses. They know if he goes left, it's weak, so they're going to force him that direction. That's not just him. You could use that for Michael Porter Jr. too, right? Like you saw him doing really, really well in the bubble, and you're like, well, in the bubble, he's getting 25 minutes. What if he gets 36 minutes? Does that mean that his performance will go up? Maybe, but I also think the other team will game plan for someone like that. So when you get more minutes, when you get more usage, whatever you want to call it, the performance doesn't just follow on a linear pattern. And I actually think there's a learning curve. I think it drops off a little bit. I think you have to, when the team asks you to do different things, now you have to really develop your skill set. And that's what it takes to be a lasting NBA player. Just coming in and being a good sharpshooter, being good off the dribble, being a playmaker, those are just tools. Those are assets. But you need to understand how to grow and develop them. And I've seen in the second year when people get entered into the starting lineup and a lot more pressure, I guess, is put on them, there's a bit of a drop-off. And I expect that with Tyler Hero. I don't think it's going to be super cakewalk for him like it was last season coming off the bench and going against 6, 7, 8, 9 men on the team. On the other
so
team.
The follow-up question for that is, does he grow into that role? Because, I mean, unpacking what you said there, I'm going to make a nice comparison for you, not of players, but just you were talking and I thought of one guy and one guy only, and his name is Vinnie Johnson. I don't know if you've ever even heard of him. Detroit Piston, right? And if there are people out there of a certain age, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about, and I'll get to him in a second. But the question really is, did Hero perform the way he did because he came off the bench, not just against their second team, because he was expected to be the offense. He was expected to shoot when he came in because the stars might not have been in there. He wasn't taking away the shots from Jimmy Butler. He wasn't taking away the shots from Bam. He wasn't taking away the shots from the starters. They were looking for him to be the offense. Are they going to look to him the same way when he's in the starting five and there are other players on the team who are going to be looking to create offense and they're not just putting him in to shoot? Is that something he's going to be able to thrive in, or is he better off as a six-man, first guy off the bench? I don't know the answer. What do you say?
This is why I think mentorship, coaching, culture, systems, all the stuff that you mentioned at the beginning of this episode are important. And I'll look at two use cases. I'll look at Michael Porter Jr. and Tyler Hero. One, I think on paper, their skill sets are actually pretty similar. I think they're good players to compare to each other. But I think one is in a system, not really a winning system. I like Coach Malone, but the jury's out on him. I don't know their GM. It's an unproven system. Now you look at the Heat. You have an X's and O's coach in Spoelstra, who's coached some of the greatest players of all time: LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Then you have Pat Riley. Pat Riley, I don't think Pat Riley gets enough credit for who he is. Dude, the guy has been a winner through and through. So why do I say that? When you get thrown into that new role, a lot of failure, a lot of doubt, a lot of insecurity starts creeping in, right? Because this guy, you got to think about it. If you make it to the NBA, you're an all-star, superstar everywhere you go. You're the best. You're the cream of the crop. You get all the attention. And then you get asked to do something a little bit outside of your skill set, and now insecurity. And now how do you deal with that adversity? I would say Boogie Cousins is a great example of that. I don't think, injuries aside, I know people always talk about Boogie's injuries. I think he's someone who was thrown into a leadership role, but didn't have the mentorship around him to help him mature and grow into that role. That's why AD going to play with LeBron is super important. Say what you want about LeBron. LeBron is rare. LeBron came into the league at 18 as a leader. As this is the standard, this is the culture. You might not agree with everything he does and how he goes about it and all that stuff, and I agree. But the dude is a leader through and through, and there's something about being around those people to learn how to behave, learning how to structure your day, learning how to deal with setbacks, learning how to go 0-15 in a game with 8 turnovers and just wake up the next day and being like, okay, well, I just got to go back to work. That's important, man. That stuff matters.
All right, well,
and
it's interesting.
I don't – if I had to guess, this is a guess. I have no idea. I don't know the character. I would say Tyler Hero is in a way better position than Michael Porter Jr. is to rise to those.
Okay. I think Hero, the difference is that I think Hero has more people around him who will take minutes and stuff away from him. We'll get there, right? So I think Hero is going to end up being somebody who is more Vinnie Johnson. And not that that's anything bad. Vinnie Johnson, it's funny. I'll come back to someone like him when we talk about sports cards. We talk about who we're investing in. We talk about, where you're putting your money. He was good enough that the Pistons actually retired his number. Wow. He's number 15's retired. It's his number. And he won, I think it was a 1990 championship for them. He hit the shot, I think it was against Portland, with 7/10 of a second. 7/10 of a second left, and they nicknamed 007 because he was 7/10 of a second left, right? But before that, you know what his nickname was? The Microwave. Vinnie Johnson was the Microwave. He was like 6'2", short for the NBA, right? But he would come off the bench, and then I think it was Danny Ainge who came up with the nickname, actually. They nicknamed him the Microwave because he could heat up. They basically came off the bench, and they looked to him to score. Heat up as fast as he could and just shoot, which I think is what they were looking for Hero to do when they put him in the game. He was inserted into the game for offense. And I don't think that rule translates to the starting five. Like, I think it's more of a team kind of thing. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
They're going to put him in the starting lineup, man.
Yeah, so we'll see.
He's going to be in the starting, at least in the beginning of the year. He's going to be in the starting lineup next to Goran Dragic, I think.
Yeah, they re-signed Goran. So
Jimmy small forward. Bam is at the center. I think he's going to be in the starting lineup. I'm pretty confident about it. I don't see why he wouldn't.
They definitely should be. He's got to start, right? But we'll see what happens. You take more minutes, more opportunities, more playing against but there's also, he's not sneaking up on anybody now. People are going to be scheming for him. People know what it is. And, I will give him a lot of credit. He's not just a 3-point shooter. I mean, I watched some games with him, right? He can take it to the rack. I mean, he can finish. He goes strong. He draws fouls. So I think he will be successful. It is a good point. It's something to look out for. And Porter Jr. is the same kind of thing. Who else? Who else going into their second year? Is it somebody you're looking into?
I mean, Shai is not really in his
Third
second year,
yep.
but he's also being entered into that role. It's a different role. I think people need to super understand it. And if you play basketball, being the number one guy or number one scoring option and playmaking option is a way different burden on your body, on your mind, than just coming off the bench.
Yep.
Not much is expected of you. It's all upside when you come off the bench, right? No one's expecting anything from you. When you're the guy.
Is there a play in this? Is it sell Michael Porter Jr., sell Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and buy Tyler Hero? Is it sell Hero and buy into Hero a month into the season? Is there a play in there?
There, kind of. I would equate it to being entered into. It's kind of what happened with Tua being put in for Fitzpatrick. It's like Kyler Murray getting the ropes. These guys, when you're given the ropes, you kind of become the quarterback of the team. Mm-hmm. I expect a little bit of a drop off, and then you're able to tell, is this guy for real or not? I think mid-season buying of these guys is way better than right now. I would sell the hype and rebuy in the offseason.
All right, I like it. Well, that's obviously not your play. You said you had a play with the art. You said you had an art play.
Yeah, I love this card, guys. And I brought it up to you guys in the past, but I've been watching the market, and it seems to be there are cards that you kind of feel they're going to pop, but the market hasn't caught up to them because they're kind of still low popish. And then I'm starting to see a trend on it, and it's the absolute uncirculated card. So the PSA 10 Luka sold for $4,900 for that card. The raw card, and these cards are, Cage could tell you more about the sets. I don't know enough about the sets, but they come, I don't know why they're called uncirculated, but they come in a mag with a Panini seal on top. Why do they do that? Is it a box hit? How do you get it?
I guess that's what makes it uncirculated. It's not really in a pack. It comes straight from Panini, untouched, uncirculated. So uncirculated is a term usually used for coins. And it means that they're not out there in circulation, right? So you can buy like mint-proof coins straight from the mint, and they're never really touched by human hands. I mean, that's the thought process on these cards, that they come straight from Panini, slabbed with a Panini sticker on it, not slabbed like in a PSA grading type thing. But, that's the premise behind it, right?
So do you get it as a redemption?
No, I think it's its own release.
But how would I, like the person who sold it to me on eBay, for example, how did he get it from Panini?
So,
and this might be a question we need to research, guys, because you got to understand these cards are super interesting. Like they're not low pop, but there's not a ton of them out there. And it's this like the two, honestly, I'm looking at all of them. Like Luka, he has this beautiful, huge RC stamp with like a black background. Jason Tatum has a beautiful card of his. Michael Porter Jr. They make it's called absolute memorabilia uncirculated. You'd have to look it up because I can't do justice with my description. But in my opinion, they're some of the nicest made cards. I think the cards are sick.
They're called encased, right? I mean, it's like that's the deal, right?
They're not called encased because that confuses people. They're not the encased that people think.
So it's a different encased one. So it's not like the absolute memorabilia encased ones.
No, it's not. But lo and behold, I've been monitoring this market for a while. And the market is definitely catching on to these cards. They come in.
I mean, it's weird, dude, because if it's what I think of, right? There was a box, right? So like it's 2018-19 Panini Absolute Memorabilia Basketball, right? So it doesn't have a base set like everybody else. Basically, it contains 2 uncirculated cards in each box. 1 veteran, 1 rookie. 100 card set. There are gold parallels. I think this is what you're talking about, right?
It is.
There's autographs. There's relics in it. So that's the set, right? So I think the set, it's called Panini Absolute Memorabilia Basketball. And you can buy, I think, like a hobby box of it. I'm pretty sure you can buy a hobby box of it for like, I think that even the 1819, I think it's like a $700 box. I think, in sealed boxes. I mean, I think the cards come basically, let's call them encased or uncirculated. Not encased, uncirculated.
So this is interesting. I'll tell you what I've seen. Okay, so the hobby box, let's say $700-800.
Yep.
Trey, rookie card from his year is on auction now. PSA 10 of the Trey is about a $1,500 to $1,800 card. There's only 9 PSA 10s of that card. Even though it comes in a mag, it's actually a really tough grade.
Well, is it because people don't take them out? Is it because people don't grade them? I mean, because I could tell you, I have Devontae Grahams of this card, and I still have them in that mag.
You could send them to PSA in the mag. You could send them to PSA in the mag, can't you?
I think BGS takes mags. I think
PSA, you got to take it out.
I think PSA, you got to send them either now. They take top loaders now, but I think it's semi-rigid.
This is a cool little nuance because I was talking to my buddy who helps me kind of prepare my cards for grading. His name is Cage, and I have another buddy who helps as well, who has a really solid eye. We were cautious about taking it out of the mag. I'm pretty sure we sent it to PSA in the mag. I can't remember exactly. But actually, the one I sent to PSA was a LeBron 2018, the veteran, that I got super cheap. I got it for $100. I think it's a set that's catching on. I think it's a set that's aesthetically beautiful. It's very, very it to me, it's a combination of art and an investment. And that's how I would look at it. And I talked about it a few weeks ago. I'm talking about it now. It's not a card that you have to rush in and buy. You could choose whatever player you want to get it of. Let's say Michael Porter Jr. is your favorite player. You could get his absolute uncirculated dirt cheap. And you don't even have to grade it because it's already in the mag. If you want to send it in for grading, great. But I think it's a card you're going to appreciate having in your personal collection long term. I think also not just aesthetically pleasing. I think it's a card that will appreciate in value. And I think if you have both of those, that's kind of cool, right, Cage?
Yes.
Where you have a card that you're proud of, that you love to show off, that you love to have. And that's how I feel about the Trey I picked up. And I really want a Luka, but it's getting a little bit too crazy in price. Should have bought it a few weeks ago. But anyway. And also, let's say things go well. Your player pops off. You're able to sell it for quite a bit more than what you got it for. I think both of those factors are going to make it a long-term play.
Huh. Listen, I love the card.
It's a nice card. It's hard to articulate why I think it's a play.
I want to do some more research about it. No, because they are sort of like art cards. You know, I mean, they definitely are. More art than card. That's funny because the uncirculated ones, I see them for 18-19. I don't see them. I see absolute memorabilia like limitless signatures. Right. I see in 2019. I see a whole bunch of them on here. They're cool cards. Like they get the team going up the side. They get a real dark background. The rookie ones say rookie on the side of them heading up. The Luka one's a pretty cool card. Like it's definitely a better looking card than say like the Prism, base card. It definitely is. I like it. But
I don't know why there isn't one from 2018-19. Maybe it'll come out later. Maybe they're not going to release it. But you're right. There is no Zion. There is no Ja. There is no Hero.
Well, what's funny is the absolute memorabilia, which is the same name. So it's Panini Absolute Memorabilia. That was what these uncirculateds came out of last time, right? They don't have the same release. So there was an Absolute Memorabilia release this year. There are boxes available online. So there is a 1920, but I don't think they had the uncirculated cards in it.
I don't think so either, because I'm looking at there's some Ja, there's some Zion, but it's a different design.
Yeah, so this year's is 5 cards per pack, 2 packs per box, and I think last year's was less than that. I think that the one with Luka was 3 cards per pack, 2 packs per box. So they kind of just changed the release up a bit, which they'll do. But I mean, does that make it more or less collectible? That Luka one. Some people like to have the same type of card they collect year after year. Like, if you're a rookie buyer, you buy the Luka Prism base, the the Ja or Zion Prism base. There was no Ja or Zion on this card uncirculated per se. It's interesting. It's interesting stuff.
It's hard to know, guys, because I don't have enough info about this set. But second tier guys, relative to Luka, are dirt cheap in this set, and the cards are gorgeous, man.
Oh yeah, I never bought. I know I have Devontae's of it. I never bought one. Like they were always the throw in a lot. Like if I was buying a lot of 5 Devontae Prism base for $20, it was in a lot of 5, and 2 of these came in the lot. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't. It was always just a throw in. So I know what you're saying. The secondary guys, they're not that expensive, which is weird because it's a nice looking card.
Isn't it? And then there's like these gold and maroon variations of it.
Yeah,
too.
Those are the numbered versions. The gold, and those are the numbered versions. Yep.
So 100%. Maybe someone out there who's listening, maybe you know more than I do about this release in this set. I just have been monitoring it. It's a set that I love the look and feel of, and it's one that the main guys Luka and Trey have been going up quite a bit on. And I do feel that once Luka and Trey get some attention and people are like, wow, what's that card? Where did it come from? It's only natural for the Jason Tatum or the Michael Porter Jr. to follow suit, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, Tatum, the Michael Porter Jr. Yeah, 100%. Trey's probably already moving. But yeah, no, I like it. Now I have to do research on it.
And I will say, let's say you're out there deciding to buy the PSA 10 version of them, because some of these have been graded. I would not go PSA 9. PSA 10 is very rare for these cards. So if you're going to go, I would go either raw or PSA 10 on them. All right, Cage, that's what I got for you guys.
I love it. So here's my play for the day, right? So my play for the day, it's I'd love it if the Prism was already out and I give it to you, but you can look at some of the prices on Mosaic on this as well. My play of the day is not something for you to buy today. Normally it's, hey, go out there right now and grab this because, there's 20 of them on eBay and be done. This is more of a watch. Watch the numbers, watch what happened, the strategy, and play it from there. There are going to be people who are dumping Joe Burrow cards.
Joe Burrow.
There are going to be people dumping Joe Burrow cards. And more importantly, when Prism boxes are opened, when Prism gets released in a couple weeks, when those boxes are opened, there are going to be people who are selling the Burrow cards raw, who otherwise would have been rushing to get them into PSA on 5-day turnarounds to get to be the first one with PSA 10s, you name it. So they won't be picked through. They won't be picked through like that. If I had a suggestion for you, I've already seen it. Some of the pricing has come down a little bit from last week already just to today. I mean, the injury just happened yesterday and, MRIs are just coming in, but it looks like it's just an ACL. You saw his tweet. He's probably not coming back this year, but he will most likely be ready for week 1 of next season. And, the kid looked legit. I mean, he looked like a legit quarterback for a long time to come. He's not somebody who was, built on running. He wasn't a mobile quarterback. This isn't Lamar Jackson with a knee injury. Anybody who wants to know whether or not a quarterback with bad knees can still perform at an optimal level, go watch some Dan Marino footage. The guy was walking around with, like 9 knee braces on and still slinging the ball all over the field. This is now this off season, as the season progresses, when people are starting to look at basketball cards, you name it, and Joe Burrow becomes cheap, I will be buying Joe Burrow cards. So it's not a specific play, although I guarantee you can buy Mosaic cheaper this week than you were able to buy it last week. Mosaic Silvers, Mosaic Autos. You will be able to pick up, whatever your favorite Burrow card is. I think the kid is legit. He was a great, rookie of the year candidate, and, sometimes you get lost in the shuffle. There was a lot of Tua talk. There's a lot of Herbert talk. Burrow's the real deal, and he's going to be a very good quarterback for a very long time. And this might be, what it reminds me of, although obviously this is a more serious injury. This guy wasn't playing postseason football anyway, so you really only had a couple more weeks of watching him play basically meaningless games anyway. So really, what are you losing? 5 games, 6 games of this guy? It reminds me of a time where I wish I would have bought the dip, but Mahomes hurt his knee Remember, he was out for a couple of weeks. He had a dislocated kneecap, obviously a different injury. And his card kind of dipped a little bit because people were like, oh, now he's hurt. Now he's done. It was like the only time you ever saw a decrease in Mahomes. This guy, I think he's that type of talent when they get some skill players put around him. And there aren't that many times to get in on dips for these guys. And unfortunately, an injury is one of those times. So that's it. It's take a look at Burrow. But just as you gave kind of like a word to the wise, second-year player, all that other fun stuff, I'll give one as well. I was thinking about this over the weekend, and everybody was big into basketball this year. Basketball was the one where everybody, let's invest in basketball. And when basketball ended, everybody kind of rolled into, buying football cards. Mosaic came out. Everybody wanted to buy football. Football was going to be the next thing. I know you said it because you sent me a text yesterday when it happened. Football and investing in football, it takes a completely different stomach and risk appetite than it does investing into basketball or baseball or anything like that. And you have to remember when you are, buying cards of young guys, prospecting guys, that injuries are part of the risk analysis. And people really do get hurt. I mean, we've seen so many crazy injuries this year in the NFL, from Dak Prescott to now Burrow to, the list can go on and on. It's an interesting thing, that just does not exist really in basketball. People get hurt, sure, but not, you don't see this, the top guy, the number one guy go down for the rest of the season. So it's just a little, word to the wise when you are picking, your sport, your investment strategy. You always have to take injuries into account when you do an NFL.
Here's the thing with Burrow. So I'm going to do some research too, but I'll touch on it from two factors. One, let's hope it's just ACL and MCL. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, I think it's a blessing. He was getting destroyed this whole year. How many times did we watch these games and we're like, dude, this guy's not going to last. Like, they're not protecting him at all. So if it is just ACL and MCL, it's almost a blessing. ACL is not nearly what it used to be. They figured this out. They've got the rehab down pat. They do underwater running and rehab. That's good. They purposely don't add this one factor that I want to talk about, and I would recommend, if you're listening to this podcast, look out for this. See if you could find him. They did put that he had other structural damage. The structural damage that's really scary, it's called microfracture. It's when a piece of your cartilage breaks off. Why does that matter? That increases your recovery time by almost 2.5 times. When you just get ACL and MCL, you could walk almost same day, maybe 2-3 days. You have to wait for the swelling to go down, things like that, to move your knee. But really, you can walk if it's just a torn ACL, you could walk right after surgery. With a microfracture, because of the severity of that injury, it's literally when your bone and your bone impact on each other, and a piece of the cartilage, which is like a protective layer on the bone, breaks off. You can't bend your knee for 6 weeks. It's a big deal. It really hinders recovery time. And as someone who's had that injury, I've had both ACL and ACL microfracture. It was a breeze recovering from just an ACL. Microfracture is really hard, and it took me a full 2 years to get back. So something to be on the lookout for as more information about his injury plays out. See if they talk a little bit about microfracture and cartilage. It's important. You're on mute, Killer.
Remember when Tua got injured and everybody was glued to, we'll know if he's through the woods with this, if this injury, if the blood flow with the heel, with the hip, it's very different. But yeah, people are going to be paying attention.
Blood flow is huge, man. Microfractures, that's exactly. So the way they do the surgery, if you guys care, they literally drill into your bone.
Drill a hole, yeah. Mm-hmm. People actually have microfracture surgery on purpose. Drilling into the kneecap. Yeah, I'm telling you. Take a look back. Yeah, microfracture surgery.
They were really scared for me that I would have arthritis in my older age, because it's like arthritis, I guess, is when bone on bone kind of starts rubbing on and causes inflammation. They haven't figured it out yet. They're getting better. They're like growing cartilage in like petri dishes now. But ACL, they've got that down pat. The microfracture is super fascinating.
There you go. So guys, keep an eye on it. But I just think Burrow will be back next season at some point in time, better than ever. The team's going to be terrible. They'll probably put some draft picks around and maybe get another wide receiver, get some other offensive weapons for him, maybe a running back, who the hell knows, maybe an offensive line, keep him upright. But, he's somebody they're going to build around for a long time, and it might be the only opportunity, unfortunately, because of injuries, but it might be the only opportunity to get in on him low.
Okay, think about it this way. So, I think he's going to recover fully. I mean, he's 21 years old.
Yep.
But let's say it does come out that he needs a full 12 to 18 months to recover. If you wait for that, people will dump his cards even more when the prism comes out. So you're going to be – I think Burrow's a play. I think he's a play where you could just wait for more information and do some research a little bit. Kind of who's – that follow on Instagram, the sports PT guy that investigates injuries? Might be worth giving him a follow because he knows his stuff. He does a good analysis. But just wait. I think you could be like a cobra in the grass with Burrow cards because I'll definitely be buying and grading them. Yeah,
even if it's an off-season play. It's always good to have as much info as you can. But there will be people dumping his cards now, 100%. I mean, just a fun little. I'll just throw it out there for you because I know we gotta bounce. But just a 1 minute one. What do you think about, for the same reason? What do you think about buying Clay?
Doesn't have as much upside towards the tail end of his career.
Yep,
and
I
agree. I think a lot of people don't realize the mental toll of injuries. And let me be specific what I mean by that. Being competitive is a habit. Being a killer is a habit. They're super. You'll see players who are competitive their whole career, and then when they're done, they kind of they choose another lifestyle because that's a zone you're in. And when you're not competing for 18 months to 2 years, it's really hard to get back into that killer instinct.
All right. Well, listen, I agree. I mean, I'd love to be buying Clay, but, I've been actually watching him to see what happened with his cards and see how much they came down, if at all, and I'll continue to watch him. But, what a horrible injury. But you're right. It's a different evaluation. Clay's already done so much. His career is already kind of settled. Burrow, you're buying in on a guy who you're expecting to get a decade of top-level play, and now at a discount. Thank you for spending some time with us on another episode of the Lucas, Tigers, and Bronze Oh My podcast. Do us a favor and subscribe. You know what? Don't just like and subscribe. Everybody does that. If you like us, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell everybody. And we hope you got something from spending some time with us today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.